Morning, but I didn't want to cancel the class, so I thought that I should be here. Okay, let's see this. So yesterday we stopped at uh, the point till yes PM Vishwakarma Yojana. Yeah, right. So we come back to that. So we were doing financial inclusion and we had covered it till Jan Dhan Yojana, and you may have written the talk on Swanidhi Yojana. Okay, so we call it street vendors Atmanidhi Yojana. Let's outline that. आप कुछ चीजें लिख लो and then we will proceed from there. So you write, the scheme was introduced the scheme was introduced in 2020-21. So when I say 2020-21, I mean the accounting year 2020-21. As I told you yesterday, we can call it 2021 also, that will imply 2021. So the scheme was introduced in 2020-21 under Atmanirbhar Bharat schemes. Under Atmanirbhar Bharat schemes. In the same thing you write, it provides possibility of credit. It provides possibility of credit in 3 installments. In 3 installments to all registered street vendors. Full stop. They can be registered with the municipal corporation. They can be registered with the municipal corporation or any local trading association, or even with resident welfare association. Resident welfare association. All right, so that is the idea, that the street vendors should be registered. They can be registered with the municipal corporation or the trading circle or the resident welfare association. So they qualify for getting loans under PM Swanidhi. Now the loan pattern will be this. They will be given a loan of 10,000 rupees, and this loan will be given for 1 year. If they pay back the loan on time, then they will qualify to get another loan of 20,000 rupees, and that loan will be given for 2 years. And if they pay back that loan on time, then they qualify to get another loan of 50,000 rupees, and that loan will be given for 42 months, 3.5 years. All right, and all these loans will be collateral free. There will be no security taken, so government gives the security for these loans. The interest rate on these loans will be kept just 0.5% above the repo rate. जो भी repo rate होगा उसके 0.5% ऊपर इनका interest rate होगा. So you put down few things and then I will further talk to you on that. I'll teach you. Repo rate is the rate at which RBI would give loan to the banks, but we will talk about it when I'm teaching you banking. Okay, you take it there, you write, under the scheme, Street vendors are eligible. Street vendors are eligible to receive credit of rupees 10,000 for 1 year in the first installment. Full stop. A second installment of rupees 20,000 for 2 years. A second installment of rupees 20,000 for 2 years can be taken after repayment of the first, full stop, after repayment of second installment, comma, a third installment is available for rupees 50,000. Full stop. The loans are collateral free. And interest rate is kept 0.5% above repo rate, 0.5% above repo rate, REPO. Repo is actually repurchase obligation, but let me teach you banking. I'll clarify it to you better. In the same thing, you also write, the scheme also includes training of street vendors, to make them capable of paying back their loans. Full stop. Another objective of the scheme is to reduce the dependence of street vendors on informal sources like money lenders. All right, so that is the basic idea of street vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi scheme. According to the budget speech of the finance minister, she said that 78 lakh people have benefited out of it, and 3 lakh people are now in their third installment. All right, that till 31st January 2023, 78 lakh people had benefited out of it, and more than 3 lakh people are in the third installment. That is what was given as an information in the budget. All right. In fact, if we go by uh, one of the speeches delivered by the Prime Minister in an election rally, he claimed that the number has now gone above 1 crore. But I don't take election speeches credibly. I would rather go by what was said in the parliament because that is under an oath. So in that case, at least you are sure that the data set will be helpful. Okay. Then within that you write B, like this was A, PM Atmanirbhar Swanidhi scheme, street vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi scheme. फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन का पहला पार्ट ये था. आप दूसरा लिखिए उसके नीचे बी. यस, सो क्रेडिट इंक्लूजन ऑफ कोर्स. तो क्रेडिट इंक्लूजन में ही एक दूसरा पार्ट लिखेंगे आप. ऑलराइट, लाइक वी टॉक्ड अबाउट बैंकिंग एंड देन वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट क्रेडिट. Within credit we talked PM Swanidhi. Now I am saying within credit itself you write Mudra Yojana. Mudra Yojana. Okay. So when we talk about Mudra Yojana, Mudra stands for Micro Units Development and Refinance Agency. That is what Mudra stands for, Micro Unit Development and Refinance Agency. वहाँ एक बात समझना, रीफाइनेंस करने का मतलब होता है connecting the lender to the borrower. So Mudra is not about giving direct loan to the beneficiaries. It is about connecting the beneficiaries to those, like say there is a National Bank for Rural and Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD, or there is Small Industry Development Bank of India, or there are other small financing institutions. So suppose if I need a small loan, then Mudra as an agency will connect me to those who are willing to give that loan. Do I believe I am reaching you on that? That जिनको लोन चाहिए और जो लोन देना चाहते हैं आप उन्हें मिला दीजिए. तो उस केस में मुद्रा एजेंसी बन गई एक गारंटर की तरह. उन्होंने कहा आपके लोन पूरा हो जाएगा, मैं ये आदमी जानता हूं, और जो लोन देने वाले हैं फिर वो लोन दे देंगे और जो लोन लेने वाले हैं उनको लोन मिल जाएगा. सो मुद्रा डजंट डायरेक्टली, इट्स नॉट दैट गवर्नमेंट इज डायरेक्टली गिविंग लोन अंडर मुद्रा. It's more like government is creating an agency which can connect people who need loan and who give loan, and then it can be kind of an intermediary and a guarantor so that loan can be facilitated easily. These loans are mainly for micro units. I'll teach you MSME in detail, but for the time being, keep in mind, whenever we use the word micro unit, it means that the investments that they have done, जो capital goods उनके पास हैं, should be less than rupees 1 crore, less than equal to, and the turnover that they have, that is the sales that they do, should be less than equal to 5 crore. That is a rule of government of India कि जिन भी production units का investment 1 crore से कम होगा और turnover 5 crore से कम होगा, उनको micro units के अंदर count किया जाएगा. Alright, investments less than 1 crore, turnover less than 5 crore, they will be counted as micro units and they will be given loans under Mudra Yojana. But you know, even in these, if you see, most of the loans given in Mudra Yojana are to very small enterprises. Say somebody who is opening a 10 square meter shop, or somebody who is doing cycle repairing, somebody who is making small potteries and all. I'll tell you why I say that. I'll make you write these also. But the loan is given under 3 heads. So the loans are given under a head. So there are 3 categories created for Mudra loans. One is what is called Shishu loan, and the amount of loan that can be taken here is up to rupees 50,000. तो अगर किसी को 50,000 रुपए तक का लोन चाहिए तो वो पहुंच सकते हैं मुद्रा योजना में लोन लेने को अंडर शिशु लोन. And then there is Kishore loan. This is for slightly larger enterprises, and this loan is from 50,000 to 5 lakh. And then there is Tarun loan, and that is from 5 lakh to 10 lakh. So this is Mudra Yojana's scheme. Now, the point I'm trying to drive home to you is that the maximum amount of loan that you get is 10 lakh. So in that case, it is about very small enterprises. So maybe I can start with a very small shop. I get a Shishu loan. I expand a little. I may qualify to get a Kishore loan. And in the process, I am expanding my business, turning it better, and I am growing around, maybe giving employment to some people, and so on. All right, so that is the basic idea that was given under Mudra scheme. You write below this now, you write Mudra Yojana was introduced in financial year 2018. Now when I say 2018, I mean in the year 1718. All right, so 2018, full stop. Under this scheme, government acts as an agent. Government acts as an agent to provide collateral-free loans with interest subvention of up to 3%, with interest subvention of up to 3%. Now, when I say up to 3%, the discretion is of the agency, that it can be interest subvention of 1%, 2%, 3%, anything, but there will be interest subvention. I can believe you all understand interest subvention, reducing the interest rate below the market rate. So interest subvention of up to 3% under 3 categories. Full stop. The smallest, sorry, make it the lowest. The lowest category is called Shishu loans. Shishu loans, under which loans can be taken up to an amount of rupees 50,000. Up to an amount of rupees 50,000. Full stop. This is followed by loans under Kishore category. This is followed by loans under Kishore category. Kishore category, where credit between rupees 50,000 to rupees 5 lakh, rupees 50,000 to rupees 5 lakh is allowed. Full stop. The third category is Tarun loans. The third category is Tarun loans, which permits loan amount which permits loan amount between rupees 5 lakh to 10 lakhs. And you write in the same thing, the objective of the scheme is to encourage small businesses by giving them assured finance and reducing their cost of credit. Full stop. It also expects that with growth of business, these enterprises will improve employment generation. With growth of business, these enterprises will improve employment generation. So the idea is that if you start one business, you are expected to maybe employ one more person. कि अगर आपने एक बिजनेस शुरू किया तो अपने साथ कोई हेल्पर रखेंगे, कोई सपोर्टर रखेंगे, and you create some extra employment for that. That may or may not happen. It's not necessary, but that is the expectation. Why are we still struggling? I'll teach you that when I'm teaching you Indian economy, and I'll come to that. But one thing we need to keep in mind is that the struggles will continue until the structure is not reformed, as in the scope for people to grow big in business without having to pay bribes or without being restricted by other competitors, that is very important. All right. Also consistently working. Remember, when I come from a poor background and I am not very well educated, then it's possible I start a business, and every business has its hiccups. It's not that any business is turbulence free. So there will be some small turbulences. I will need support at that time. If I am not supported at that time, I just might go out of business and may start become a daily wage laborer again, and so on. So that is something again where we need to focus upon. Plus micro units can be the beginning part, but the aspiration should be to make them into small and then medium. End of the day, larger employment is always created when country has a lot of medium scale enterprises. आपको एक एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ मैं, जैसे हम बांग्लादेश से हार रहे हैं बहुत जमकर से टेक्सटाइल में. क्यों हार रहे हैं? क्योंकि बांग्लादेश ने क्या किया है, स्केल अप कर लिया अपने टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री को सरकार के पॉलिसी के मदद से. So their textile industries are larger industries, and those industries are one factory or group of factories by one company which employs 1,000 to 1,200 people. So that is the large scale at which they produce. Our companies, at the moment, majority of them, even the better off, are employing 60 to 70 people. तो उनका स्केलिंग हमसे 20 टाइम्स ज़्यादा हो गया है. अब कहेंगे सर ये स्केलिंग से क्या होता है? तो जो लोग आप इकोनॉमिक्स में नए हैं, आप ऐसे समझिए उसे. If I produce on a large scale, I will buy my raw materials in bulk. And if I buy my raw materials in bulk, it will mean that I can buy them cheaper. Anything that you buy in bulk, you get it cheaper. That reduces my overall cost of raw material, no? Makes me efficient. Similarly, if I am producing on large scale, I can hire better quality workers because I can afford to pay more. You understand that? Similarly, if I am producing on a large scale, I can go for better quality technology because I can invest a larger amount. You understand this? So the point I'm trying to drive home to you is that end of the day, India has to focus on assuring that, okay, any entrepreneur will start micro, but how do you make sure that that micro level entrepreneur then is encouraged to become small and then medium, so that we have some more competition also, but equally importantly efficiency. Then the productivity level goes up, so the wage rate goes up, and that is when people will start becoming better off. You understand that? And that's needed in every enterprise. I just gave you an example of textile, but that's needed in every enterprise that we should focus upon. Now, what are the restrictions? I'll make you write all those things at a later time, but what are the restrictions? Imagine the biggest restriction is our labor laws. They say you can hire people, but you can't remove them. So if I'm in a seasonal system like textile or sugar or shoes or leather goods, which operates for 8-9 months busily in a busy way, and 3-4 months there is no work, much of it, then I will rather more be focused to keep more unorganized workers rather than hiring them on roll call. आप कहेंगे सर कोई बात नहीं, unorganized worker होने से क्या होगा, कम से कम जो organized है उन्हें protection मिल रहा है. The challenge there is that when I know these workers are not on my roll call, I may not be training them sufficiently because I'm not confident whether they will be with me next year or not. I may not be investing in them. I may not be giving them health security and life insurance or accidental compensation. And all that makes a worse employer-employee relation with more exploitation of labor rather than less. So this is one challenge, and I'll explain these things in more detail to you. You give me some time, we'll reach there later. Another challenge is acquiring land in our country. Many people don't know whose land is which. The land pool is distributed in that manner. So acquiring land for factory, आप सोचिए आप एक फैक्ट्री लगाना चाहते हैं, आपने ज़मीन खरीदी, सारे पैसे दे दिए किसी को, और फिर कोई आकर आपके ऊपर केस कर दिए कि ये ज़मीन actually मेरी थी. And now the court gives an injunction order and your factory is now stalled. You wait till the court gives an order, and the court might give an order 20 years later. So who will have the courage then to buy a factory? That courage is then developed by those who are either very big businessmen, so they of course will not go for micro enterprise, then they go for very large scale enterprise, or that courage is developed by people who are henchmen of politicians, bahubali कहते हैं जिनको, जो efficient काम करना नहीं जानते, उनको जुगाड़ लगाना आता है. So they have no business view, no vision. But they know, okay, I'm connected with the minister, I'm connected with the parliamentarian, and maybe I have system on my side, so I can get my way through. Both of that is inefficient. Other problems are our intellectual property rights are weak, so people don't want to invest in R&D in India. Other problems are ease of doing business is weak. Permissions to start the business, we still need 19 permissions, 19, to initiate a business in India. It still takes 30-35 days in the best circumstance to initiate a business in India. In places like Singapore or Germany, it takes 12 hours. So we are very investor unfriendly that way. That is the basic idea of it, that we are investor unfriendly. We are, if you ask me, I'm honestly telling you, we are people unfriendly. That is the real challenge that we have. That we are people unfriendly. हम लोगों के साथ हमारा जो सरकारी सिस्टम है वो लोगों के साथ compassionate होके behave नहीं करता. It doesn't behave like that. आपको मैं एक example देता हूँ compassionate behavior क्या है, just समझाने के लिए बस बता रहा हूँ. So when I was doing my PhD, I would move a lot. मैं वहाँ US में घूमता वूमता बहुत था क्योंकि सस्ती मिल जाती थी गाड़ियाँ, और आप घूम के मैं देखता था कैसी दुनिया है उनकी, क्या क्या किया इन्होंने, कैसे डेवलप हो गए इतना. तो जब घूमता था तो वहाँ एक दिन घूम रहा था मैं. I was in Texas, and my car broke down on one of the motor highways, and I was alone. I used to rent a car and drive. So I was now dialing my numbers that, okay, somebody can come and help me out here. And in between, the police siren came wailing. And to be honest to you, being from India, I was pretty worried, because I thought now there will be some harassment, that they'll ask you, what are you doing? And so I was making my passport and everything ready, that they will come and ask me for everything like that, and I must give it to them, show it to them. So they came in, they knocked on my window, and I pulled down my window, and I'm explaining to them straight away that I'm a valid person. I have my passport, and I'm on student visa, and I'm attached to the University of Massachusetts. I'm doing my PhD. And they were saying something else. And then I stopped. I thought maybe we are both speaking at each other. So he was not getting me, and I was not getting him. And then he said that, sir, this is not a very safe area where you are stuck up. So you come with us, and we will drop you to your motel. And then I said, my car, and he said, your car will be taken care of. We will make it reach there. You are a foreign citizen, so there is more trouble for you. So come along. And I'm honestly telling you, even when I was sitting in their car, I was still feeling a little worried that now they will take me to the police station and they will say that we caught this fellow and so on. So maybe I was more skeptical than what I should have been, but I was skeptical without any doubt. Within but 10-15 minutes, they dropped me at my motel. My car was dropped that same evening. I'm on late night as they repaired it and got it delivered. And next morning, the sheriff called me up in my motel to ask me that whether my experience was good. Did they help me properly? Did I feel something uncomfortable? And then I realized why they are so developed. And I was thanking him profusely, and he said, no need to thank us. You are a person in this country, so we need to make sure that you are safe and sound, and we need to make sure that we take care of yours. And he was very kind, in fact. What I'm trying to tell you is that if the government starts treating its citizens like that, and even the non-citizen, I was not even a citizen there, then people start developing confidence in the system, and then you have 90-95% people automatically reporting correctly to you. The thing is just that maybe 5% people can still misreport, but 90-95% people can automatically report to you. हमारे यहाँ वही part troublesome हो जाता है. The real issue is that part becomes troublesome. मैं कल, in fact, the person I lost was my first aunt. तो वो बरेली में है. तो कल रात को खबर आई कि उनकी तबीयत ठीक नहीं है. तभी आपको रात को एक मैसेज आया होगा कि क्लास लेट से शुरू होगी. तो मैं गया उनको मिलने के लिए. फिर अनफॉर्चुनेटली शी पास्ड अवे. तो जब मैं लौट रहा था वहां से, 3-4 पुलिस बैरिकेड्स थे एंड कंप्लीटली अनफ्रेंडली बैरिकेड्स. Completely unfriendly. They are stopping you, and then if you are in a foul mood, you can always pick up a fight. Thankfully, I am gifted with some calmness, so I was keeping my cool. But the unfriendliness was visible. I mean, treating your own citizens as criminals is not a good idea. That is my point. That is not a good idea. That is where business suffers. और वही अगर आप कुछ पैसा खिला दीजिए तो बात अपने आप सॉल्व हो जाती है. तो उस केस में क्या होता है, जो सरकारी सिस्टम में है उनकी इज्जत भी खराब होती है. That common people start visualizing them as people who just need money and they are not having concern about me. That's not a good relation, especially for economic development, because entrepreneurs need stability and entrepreneurs require consistent policy making. Unless it doesn't happen, there is going to be trouble. That is the real challenge one would have. I hope you are getting the crux of what I'm telling you, and then I'll teach you more things. There are more issues in India due to which we call them structural issues, due to which we have trouble in manufacturing development in India, but we need to focus on it. I'll tell you why we need to focus on it. People who are in agriculture, and 46% of workforce in India, 45.8%, is still in agriculture. Now, people in agriculture cannot overnight become service sector employees, barring a few who may be engaged as gatekeepers or PNs or maybe delivery boys. इनमें से कुछ हो सकते हैं जिनको आप एग्रीकल्चर से सीधा सर्विस वर्क में ले आओ. लेकिन मेजॉरिटी ऑफ लोग जो एग्रीकल्चर में हैं वो ओवरनाइट कंप्यूटर इंजीनियर नहीं बन जाएंगे. तो आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा? You will have to develop manufacturing. You recall Make for India? So you will have to develop manufacturing, imbibe these people in that, so that their next generation is educated enough and is capable to do upper level work. And to be honest to you, we have that much time only left. Another 25 to 30 years, I see majority of manufacturing work, or maybe 35 years, but it will happen in the next 25 to 35 years, that majority of manufacturing work and regular manual work will be automated. It's going to happen. MIT has already experimented in collaboration with Apple, because again I have been a part of these experiments, in collaboration with Apple, to develop a robo which can do your household chores. Now, right now that robo is very costly, and it's not in a right domain, क्योंकि उस रोबो के अंदर आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस डाली जा रही है और लर्निंग एबिलिटी डाली जा रही है, जिसको आप जनरेटिव एआई बोलते हैं. तो लर्निंग एबिलिटी डाली जा रही है. बट अभी उस रोबो के साथ 3-4 दिन पहले एक एक्सपेरिमेंट चल रहा था. मैं भी उसका एक पार्ट था, मैं देख रहा था उस एक्सपेरिमेंट को. तो वो रोबो गुस्सा हो रहे थे. If you were continuously instructing the robot to do the same thing, get me a glass of water, get me a glass of water, get me a glass of water, the fellow threw the water at you. So it was doing something like that. So right now we are in a very experimental stage, and we have not reached that stage where the robots can do exactly the work that humans are doing. But remember, the experiments are going good to the extent that robots are taking instructions, they are responding to the instructions. You understand that? So now, if that is so today, 30 years later, 25 years later, you are looking at a situation where people can be replaced for manual work by robo. There is an experiment which is already almost successful in USA. It's called SAM. It's called Semi-Automated Mason. All right, उनका नाम रखा है उन्होंने SAM. All right. So this semi-automated mason जो है, ये completely automated नहीं है, ये semi-automatic है. इनको instruction से आप काम नहीं करा सकते, इनमें programming करनी पड़ती है. But the fellow can do bricklaying, and जो राजमिस्त्री का काम होता है, masonry, तो the fellow can do bricklaying and cement attachment on that 9 times faster than what the most efficient human can do. And the fellow does it with complete perfection. आप उनको बोलिए कि आपको ये करना है, और वो फटाफट ब्रिकले करते चले जाते हैं. So what I'm trying to tell you is that then it means that maybe 30 years later, 25 years later, the Europeans will start doing it. And after 10 years of that, we will start getting to that, because that is how technology catches up. So if we want our people to get industrial jobs, the next 30 years is the window. And make sure that in the next 30 years, we have trained our population as best as possible and educated them as good as possible with as many graduates as possible and so on. And that will then maybe allow us to face the challenge that we see that others in the world are creating. Because living in our cocoon, जहाँ हम लोग जी रहे हैं, तो हमें सब कुछ देख के लगता है कि अच्छा ग्रो तो हो ही रहा है, ग्रोथ हो भी रहा है. पर जब हम देखें दूसरे कैसे ग्रो कर रहे हैं और उनके लिविंग स्टैंडर्ड कहाँ पहुँच रहे हैं, so in a global system, you got to compete with them. The competition won't be within India itself. So that is where I was suggesting that the laws become very important, and they have been pretty unfriendly. तो मुद्रा योजना जैसी चीजें अच्छी हैं, लेकिन अगर मुद्रा योजना के पैसे घूस दे के मिले, अगर मुद्रा योजना के पैसे आप घूस दे के लेंगे, तो आपको अंदर ही अंदर पता है, if you are bribing for मुद्रा योजना, then okay, I'm not allowed not to repay, because I have bribed for the loan. So even if I don't repay or I default a little, there will be no major issue. Another thing we need to do, which I have kept saying since second, third class to you, we need to do is from time to time keep studying the impact of these schemes and what role have they played in upliftment. That is very important. Unless we don't study the impact and what role it can play, there will be problem part again that we would see. So you write one more line in this. You write, according to budget of interim budget of 2024, according to interim budget of 2024, there are more than 42 crore beneficiaries. There are more than 42 crore beneficiaries in Mudra scheme, 42 crore beneficiaries in Mudra scheme with a cumulative loan of rupees 21 lakh crore. Cumulative loan of rupees 21 lakh crore. So, again, what the perception then we get is that on an average, the loan amount is 50,000. There are 42 crore beneficiaries, 21 lakh crore worth of loan. So on an average, the loan amount will be something like 50,000 rupees. So most of the loans will be close to Shishu loans that we are giving. And again, that is why their follow-up is very important. That we follow up on them, see the loans are coming back, default rate should not be high. All that is important to do. Creating a culture of paying back. That is important. Unless there is a culture of paying back, giving loans to upgrade people may not work per se. So conducive environment to grow. Conducive environment means better labor laws, Land Acquisition Act, credit support, and so on. Apart from conducive environment to grow, better training so that growth can be made permanent. And along with that, making sure that the people are trained to pay back. Otherwise, there is a penalty for not paying back. I hope these things can be kept in mind. Okay. एक और स्कीम है जो मैं आपको सिखाऊंगा फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन में, बट आई विल टीच यू दैट व्हेन आई एम टीचिंग यू बैंकिंग. That is called priority sector lending scheme. All right, so we will talk about priority sector lending and what is the scheme there, but that will happen when I'm teaching you banking in India. But अभी के लिए बस आप एक point लिख के वहाँ रख लो as the third point, priority sector lending. But I will teach you this when I'm teaching you banking, you will get me better. Priority sector lending. Priority sector lending. You just let it be. We'll discuss it as we go further. Okay, then you move to the third thing. So first was banking inclusion, second was credit inclusion. We are still in financial inclusion. So banking inclusion, credit inclusion. Then you write third, insurance inclusion. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. It can be private, it can be public, anyone. This scheme is central sector. Central government pays all the collateral. Okay. You write insurance inclusion. Put a dash and write government has initiated several schemes to provide cheaper insurance like PM Jeevan Bima Nidhi Yojana. This is for life insurance, that those who are poor can pay a very small amount. It's almost in the range of 100 rupees, 150 rupees per annum. And they say that if you pay this, we protect you for 1 lakh rupees if by chance the person dies. So this is for life insurance. Then similarly, there is PM Jeevan Suraksha Yojana. This is for accidental insurance or accident insurance. That if somebody meets with an accident, then you give this Jeevan Suraksha Yojana. So this is for helping if somebody has accident. Then there is PM Jan Arogya Yojana. This is for health insurance. So under PM Jan Arogya Yojana, the bottom 40% families are covered, and they are eligible to receive health insurance of up to rupees 5 lakhs on a floater basis. They are eligible to receive health insurance of up to rupees 5 lakhs in 1 year. Up to rupees 5 lakhs in 1 year on a floater basis. Floater basis means anybody in the family can attain that. Say for example, the father goes unwell and has to take medicines or care of say up to 1 lakh rupee, then still if somebody else goes unwell in the family, they will be eligible for another 4 lakh rupees. Are you getting the point I'm making? That is called floater basis. That one person can go unwell, but multiple people in the family can be treated up to the limit of 5 lakh rupees. All right, multiple people can be treated up to the limit of 5 lakh rupees. So they are eligible to receive health insurance of up to rupees 5 lakhs in 1 year on a floater basis. Floater basis means that anybody in the family can take that benefit. That is floater basis, up to rupees 5 lakh. All right. Also, and when I say that bottom 40% families, that means approximately 12 to 13 crore families of India. 12 to 13 crore families, which will approximately mean 55 crore to 65 crore people, assuming a family size of 4 to 5 people. All right, so it can mean anything between 55 to 65 crore people who get covered under PM Jan Arogya Yojana. Now there is a proposal, it will only be decided by the next Lok Sabha, but now there is a proposal to include all people above age of 60, irrespective of their income level, in PM Jan Arogya Yojana. All right, that jitne bhi log 60 years ke upar gaye, everybody in the old age should be included under PM Jan Arogya Yojana. But there is only a proposal right now. We have not yet seen it in the parliament. The government had said that after elections they will bring it in the parliament to say that make sure that everybody above the age of 60 can be eligible for this. All right. There are 33,000 hospitals which are empaneled in it. 33,000 hospitals empaneled in it. Out of these 33,000, around 21,000 are government hospitals and 12,000 are private hospitals. So 33,000 hospitals are empaneled in it, and out of these 33,000, 21,000 hospitals are government hospitals and 12,000 hospitals are private hospitals. All right, 21,000 government, 12,000 private. On an average, okay, one more thing. It is a centrally sponsored scheme with both center and state government sharing it on a 50-50 basis, the expenditure. All right, it is a centrally sponsored scheme. और जो प्रीमियम भरने का खर्चा होगा, क्योंकि लोगों को कोई प्रीमियम नहीं देना, तो वो प्रीमियम कौन देंगे? सरकार देगी. All right, people don't have to pay any insurance premium. So who will pay that insurance premium? The government. So that premium is shared 50-50 between central government and state government. All right. So this budget by the central government has remained between 6,000 crore to 7,000 crore since the inception of the scheme. Jan Arogya Yojana was introduced in 2017. और 2017 ऑनवर्ड्स अगर हर साल के बजट की बात करें तो जो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का शेयर रहा है वो 6,000 करोड़ टू 7,000 करोड़ रहा है. इसका मतलब एक तरह से क्या हुआ? द टोटल एक्सपेंडिचर वुड बी समथिंग बिटवीन 12,000 करोड़ टू 14,000 करोड़. You understand that? The central government has to pay 50% of the cost. So the rest 50% will be paid by the state government. So if central government's budget is 6,000 to 7,000 crore, the state government budget will also match it. So we can expect that total budget will be around 12,000 to 14,000 crore. So that has been the case with Jan Arogya Yojana. Another thing is that Odisha, West Bengal and Delhi have not joined this scheme. All right, these are the three states which have not joined this scheme. They say that we have our own state government schemes which we will go by and we will not participate in this. So Odisha, West Bengal and Delhi, all right, they have not joined the scheme. West Bengal sent a very interesting proposal. They said that if the state government is also paying money, then the scheme should be called Pradhan Mantri Mukhya Mantri Yojana. Otherwise, we are not joining it. All right. So all these things keep happening in Indian politics. They're pretty amusing. But anyway, but then these are the three governments not a part of it: West Bengal, Odisha, and Delhi. All right. In fact, Punjab had initially said that they will not be a part of it once Aam Aadmi Party comes to power, but till now they have not opted out. They are still into it. All right. Then you take next one below that, and then you can write one more which I will teach you later because that will come in agriculture, but for the time being you write it PM Fasal Bima Yojana. That's for crop insurance. But I will teach you when I'm teaching you agriculture, it will make more sense there. PM Fasal Bima Yojana. That is for crop insurance. Fasal Bima Yojana. Fasal Bima Yojana. So under priority sector lending, there is an obligation that all private banks also have to give 40% of their total credit to the priority sector lending. But other than that, there is no obligation on any bank actually. All right, even in Mudra or for that matter in PM Swanidhi, it's not obligatory. But then since we have public sector banks and these are government sponsored schemes, mostly the government uses public sector banks to implement these schemes. All right. Okay. In fact, that is why I keep saying that if anyone says that public sector is not needed, they don't understand the economic systems. So public sector is needed. The important thing is how do you make sure that public sector is efficient and is not functioning in areas where it is not needed. The point is that you do need a public sector bank in India or several public sector banks in India, or we need education, healthcare, etc. in public sector and so on. So it is needed and these schemes can't be run if it is not there. But the scope has to be understood, that for what scope it is needed. All right, एक और बात आप समझिएगा, हम हर बात में चाइना का एग्जाम्पल देते हैं. 1990s में चाइना ने पब्लिक सेक्टर रिफॉर्म्स किए जिसके अंदर उन्होंने अपने यहाँ more than 700 पब्लिक सेक्टर बंद कर दिया and more than 30,000 employees को फायर कर दिया because they were inefficient. So a communist country could do it, but you cannot think about even saying that in our country. You know, and that creates the entitled. The problem with public sector is not public sector. The problem with public sector is the culture we have created. You know, where people feel entitled and then they don't work. आप अब जैसे हम अभी पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक की बात कर रहे थे, आप सोच के देखिए, try going to a public sector bank to open an account and then look at the treatment they are giving you and compare it to the treatment you get in a private sector bank when you go to open an account. Well, both of them are in the same market. They have to understand and realize that they are competing with each other. So the public sector bank cannot, I mean, अब तो फिर भी मैं थोड़ा खुश होता हूँ क्योंकि मैं देखता हूँ advertisements आते हैं SBI के, Canara Bank के. पहले तो वो लोग bother भी नहीं करते थे कि advertise भी करना है. You know, उनको लगता था आना है आओ, नहीं आना है जाओ, हमें क्या करना है? You know, so this is something where we need to improve. If we can make our public sector equally competitive, put targets on them, put the onus on them, and make the job related to productivity. See, again understand, job related to productivity को कभी भी सिर्फ materialistically मत सोचिए. Job related to productivity का मतलब क्या है? Responsibility to complete my job because it is my job. You know, important है. आप सोचिए सुबह सुबह उठकर आप आते हैं, हर रोज सुबह उठ के मन में तो आता ही होगा आज भर सो लेते हैं, वीडियो देख लूंगा, विभास तो बात ही करेगा. You know, but then there is someone who is responsible in your soul which tells you no, the class has to be attended, let's go. Please understand, that's a culture of the mind. The mind, if you train like that, it will go to the office and work. You know, ये समझना. कल मुझे संदीप जी बोल रहे थे जो हमारा शेड्यूल वगैरह बनाते हैं, जब उनको पता चला कि सर आप रात भर कहाँ आएंगे वहाँ से, आप मैं कुछ और अरेंज कर देता हूँ, तो सुबह सुबह कैसे चेंजेस करेंगे? How do we call up a teacher at 12 at night to tell them take a class because sir will not be there? And how do we tell the students there will be no class tomorrow because sir is not there? चलो तुम में से कुछ शायद मैसेज नहीं देखे होगे, आ गए होगे 8 बजे, मैं एक्चुअली सॉरी हूँ उसके लिए, बट आई कुडंट हैव हेल्प्ड इट. द पॉइंट वाज दैट. बट सोचो अगर आओ 8 बजे और तब पता चले क्लास नहीं है, इट्स सो फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग. सो एज योर टीचर आई गॉट टू टेक दैट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. कि कोई भी सिचुएशन है, क्लास तो होनी जरूरी है. अब शाम वालों को बता दिया जाएगा या तब तक टीचर्स अरेंज किए जा सकते हैं. सो आई कैन अगेन ड्राइव बैक टू बरेली और आस्क माई ड्राइवर टू टेक मी देयर एंड आई कैन डू थिंग्स ओवर देयर. बट आई कांट कैंसिल द क्लास अर्ली मॉर्निंग unless I am not in an emergency ward. और मैंने कभी नहीं किया है ऐसा. या तो मैं आईसीयू में हूं तो ही सुबह की क्लास कैंसिल हो सकती है, नहीं तो नहीं हो सकती. सवाल ही नहीं है. You know, there is no question. But and and that is what is work culture. इसका इससे कोई लेना देना नहीं है कि अच्छा मुझे पैसे कितने कमाने हैं या मुझे मिल क्या रहा है. Important is मेरी ड्यूटी क्या है, मेरा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी क्या है, and can I overlook it. So if we can create that culture in our public sector, then public sector can be as good if not better than the private sector. The problem is that culture goes missing. आप कुछ लोग होंगे जो so called reputed colleges से आए होंगे, वहां आप देखते होंगे प्रोफेसर्स में एक कल्चर होता था कि वो खुद ही पढ़ाने को तैयार रहते थे. ये कल्चर है बस. They are willing to teach. You know, I was at Delhi School of Economics as a student, and even as a teacher, we used to maintain that culture. I don't know what's happening up there now, but you know, the students here used to have a break of 10 minutes between the classes, but the professors would be there before that break started, just to tell the students, I am here, so you curtail your break and come back, so that we can add another 5 minutes to the class. So that is just a culture, और वो भी तो public ही sector है ना. ऐसा थोड़ी है कि वो प्राइवेट सेक्टर में कोई काम कर रहे हैं. तो मोटिवेटेड इंडिविजुअल्स, ट्रेन्ड इंडिविजुअल्स एंड इंडिविजुअल्स हु आर विलिंग टू वर्क, हु नो देयर ड्यूटी कि ये मेरा काम है, इसको छोड़ नहीं सकते. और ये हर लेवल पे ऐसे लोग हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ पढ़े लिखे लोगों में. आप देखेंगे कुछ लोग हैं जो नहीं भी पढ़े लिखे, लेकिन वो अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बहुत अच्छा समझते हैं. दैट इज माई जॉब टू डू दिस. सो दिस इज व्हाट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट वंस वी इनकलकेट दैट, देन वी आर इन अ बेटर जोन. That is the only limited point I'm trying to drive home. All right. Then we take things further. You write below that fourth thing, D. So I'll tell you what I mean by that. So banking inclusion and credit inclusion, insurance inclusion, and now you write pension inclusion. That's still under financial inclusion. Pension inclusion. Put a dash and write government has initiated several pension schemes to assure protection for poorer sections in their old age. Full stop. For example, PM Kisan Man Dhan scheme. PM Kisan Man Dhan, MAANDHAN, Man Dhan, MAANDHAN, PM Kisan Man Dhan scheme. Put a dash and write. This scheme is available for all farmers in the age group of 18 years to 40 years, age group of 18 years, 18, to 40 years, 40, full stop. They can contribute between rupees 55 per month. They can contribute between rupees 55 per month. So if you are joining it at the age of 18 years, then you have to contribute 55 per month. So between rupees 55 per month to rupees 200 per month, So if you are joining at the age of 40 years, then you are contributing 200 per month. If at the age of 18 years, then 55 per month, and anywhere in between, the amount will be in between. All right, like somebody joins at 20, then it will be something between 55 and 200, 25, 30 and so on. तो जो 18 में join कर लिए वो 55 per month देंगे थ्रू आउट. जो 40 में join कर रहे हैं वो 200 per month देंगे. And बीच में अगर कोई करेंगे तो anything in between amount has to be paid. So 200 per month for a period of 20 years. For a period of 20 years, and they will be eligible to receive pension of rupees 3,000 per month, 3,000 per month after 60 years of age. 60 years of age. तो आप 20 साल तक ये पैसा दीजिए, उसके बाद जब आप 60 साल के हो जाएंगे सरकार आपको 3,000 per month देगी. You understand that? That you pay 55 rupees per month for 20 years if you join at the age of 18, or you pay 200 rupees per month for 20 years if you join at the age of 40, and once you attain 60 years of age, government pays 3,000 rupees per month. All right, that's called contributory pension. Important is that the amount that the farmers will contribute, the pension amount will be far more than that, because again contribution will be done by the government. It is again a centrally sponsored scheme with 50-50 share between central and state government. All right, centrally sponsored scheme, and central and state government have a 50-50 share in that. That is, how much money has to be given, you mean? All farmers, those who are registered as farmers, those who are having a land holding, they can register themselves. No, they can even be tenant farmers. They can be people who are taking somebody else's land and cultivating, but they should be farmers who are doing cultivation, and that can be verified easily with respect to the Kisan credit card that they might be holding, or they may be registered with the APMC markets, or they may be getting a tenancy, say paper. So there are various ways in which you can verify it. No, after 60 you can't register. All right, registration is still 40. In fact, you can't even register after 40. It's for farmers between 18 to 40. All right. So if you die between that age, then the scheme has an insurance program that you will be insured for that. Even if you die after 60, half of the pension amount will be given to your nominee. As in, suppose somebody has a wife as nominee and that person dies, then wife will keep getting 1,500 rupees per month till she is alive. All right, that kind of a thing is done. Opting out is not allowed. If you have opted in, you can't opt out. All right, and if you opt out, then your money is forfeited. All right. Now you write below that another scheme, Atal Pension Yojana. Atal Pension Yojana. This is the second pension scheme. There are several, but I'm making you write two each kind of, just preparing you for a possibility. If they ask you a question on insurance schemes in India or pension schemes in India, then you should have the knowledge. Also, you can always keep in mind, when it comes to writing an answer, say only on insurance or even otherwise, please keep the talk we did yesterday on financial inclusion, when I was making you write about different inclusions and their benefits, and what we are doing today connected. So today we are doing all the government schemes, and yesterday we were doing the theory of why it is important. I hope I am reaching you on that. कल की पढ़ाई में सीख रहे थे theoretically कि financial inclusion से benefit क्या है, और आज सरकार ने क्या क्या स्कीम बनाए हैं वो सीख रहे हैं. आप जब भी कोई भी आंसर लिखेंगे दोनों को मिक्स करके ही लिखेंगे. Alright, so that will make a complete answer for the examiner. Okay, you write this, then you write in Atal Pension Yojana, This is a central sector scheme. In this case, it's central sector. This is a central sector scheme which provides pension facility, central sector scheme which provides pension facility to all unorganized workers. To all unorganized workers. Okay, I'll clarify this to you. I'm just answering two things there. One question is, what is impaneled hospital? देखिए, जब कोई भी इंश्योरेंस स्कीम होती है, कोई भी इंश्योरेंस स्कीम, हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस की, तो ये नहीं है कि अगर आपने हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस ले लिया तो कहीं भी जाके अपना इलाज करा सकते हैं. That is not the rule. It's not that I have a health insurance card, I can go anywhere and get myself treated. Every health insurance scheme has its set of hospitals with which they collaborate, and if you go to those hospitals, then you will be treated. They are called impaneled hospitals. Alright, so when I used the term impaneled hospitals, it means that those hospitals which have a collaboration under Jan Arogya Yojana, so those who are holding the Jan Arogya card can go to those hospitals to get treated. It is not random that I can walk into any hospital and say, look, you treat me. That cannot be done. And one more question that I am asked is, recently IRDAI has extended life insurance above 60 years. So is it also included even in government insurance scheme? Mind you, life insurance above 65 years is now allowed. Earlier it was not because of the high risks involved, but is now allowed. But that is a separate thing from an insurance support scheme. This is just that if I am above 65 years of age and I want to buy a life insurance for myself, I will be allowed that. But even in health insurance now, they are allowing that people above 60 years of age can purchase health insurance. Earlier that it used to be not allowed, that if you are above 60 years and you have not had a health insurance in the past, you can't take it now. But that is just a reform, and a very good reform, which shows that there will be no distinction between people who are young and people who are old. But that's not to do with insurance inclusion. Insurance inclusion means cheaper insurance, जहां आप प्रीमियम कम कर दीजिए. जब मैंने कहा था 60 साल से ऊपर के लोगों के लिए इम्पैनलमेंट की बात हो रही है, मैं ये मीन कर रहा था कि सरकार ये कह रहे हैं कि जन आरोग्य योजना वैसे तो गरीबों के लिए है, लेकिन 60 साल के ऊपर के लोग जितने भी इनकम ग्रुप से हो, उनको भी इंक्लूड किया जाए अंडर जन आरोग्य योजना, so that they don't feel vulnerable in their old age. You understand that? That is the point I was making under Jan Arogya Yojana. Now, I made you write something. I made you write about unorganized sector and so on. So let us understand two things first. पहले एक बात समझिए. जो भी वर्कर फॉर्मल ऑर्गेनाइज्ड सेक्टर में है, उनकी कंपनी उनके प्रोविडेंट फंड में कंट्रीब्यूशन करती है. Have you heard of the provident fund scheme? That there is something called employees provident fund, and the employers contribute 12% of your basic salary, and the employees contribute 12% of their basic salary, and then that provident fund saves money for you throughout your working period, and at the end of your working period you will get that money and you can use it for your pension, gratuity, etc. But if I am in the unorganized sector and if I am in the informal sector, I don't get that support. So the government has brought this in for workers who are not working for enterprises in the formal or organized sector. तो जब भी आप सुनते हैं, जब कोई बोले formal sector, these are enterprises which are registered with employees provident fund organization, EPFO, or employees state insurance corporation, ESIC, All right, these are enterprises which are registered with Employees Provident Fund Organization or Employees State Insurance Corporation. तो जो भी organizations, जो भी enterprises registered हैं इन दोनों में से किसी एक के साथ, उन्हें माना जाता है formal. All right, those who are registered with one of the two, at least one of the two, are considered as formal. So automatically the rest become informal. If there are enterprises registered with none of the two, then they become informal. The point about India is that the workforce in the formal sector is only 11% of total workforce. जो टोटल वर्कर्स हैं इंडिया में उसके सिर्फ 11% फॉर्मल में है. 89% of India's workforce is working informally. You know, and that's not tough to realize. 45-46% are in agriculture itself, which is completely informal, and then there are around 30% people who are working as traders, small traders, as rickshaw pullers, as sellers of small commodity. You understand that? And they are certainly out of all of that. All right. 11% जो ये लोग जिनकी हम बात करते हैं, they include people working in the government or people working in large corporates, where they get a formal job and they will get these protections. So then a lot of people in India are there who do not have a protection like a pension fund. अब एक और term आप सुनेंगे बार बार जिसे कहते हैं organized और unorganized. तो जब हम ये बात करते हैं, when we use the term organized sector, that is, it includes all those enterprises which employ more than 20 workers or which employ more than 10 workers and use electricity as an input, which employ more than 20 workers. तो वो सारे कंपनीज, सारी फैक्ट्रीज, सारे एंटरप्राइजेस जिनमें या तो 20 से ज़्यादा लोग काम करते हैं. So if there are more than 20 workers working, then that place becomes organized. But it is also possible that there are not 20 or more, less than 20, but if they are more than 10 and electricity is used as an input. Now, why is that important? Because if electricity is used as an input, it means you are using machines. You are mechanized. So if you are mechanized and using more than 10 workers, otherwise if you are using 20 workers, whether mechanized, non-mechanized, then we classify these companies or these enterprises as organized sector enterprises in India. ये definition आता है इंडिया के एक कानून से जिसको बोलते हैं Industrial Disputes Act. All right. So Industrial Disputes Act defines organized sector in this manner. और जो Factory Act है इंडिया का वो formal sector define करता है. All right. The definition of formal sector is in the Factory Act and the definition of organized sector is in the Industrial Disputes Act. Now, the point again is that out of total workforce, only 17% of total workforce is in the organized sector. So 83% of total workforce is in the unorganized sector. 17% of total workforce is in the organized sector. So 83% of total workforce is in the unorganized sector. The Vishakha, you cannot discontinue these schemes once you have initiated because you have made sure that the people are promised these benefits. Nominated hospitals are same as impaneled hospitals. Entitled नहीं है वो राजवंशी, impaneled है. Okay, let's see this then. Now I can understand, I can believe you understand the vulnerability that the workers have in India, because a brute majority is unorganized, informal. All right, that is where they are. And that makes them very vulnerable. Now they don't have a health insurance, they don't have life insurance, they don't have accidental coverage, they will not get any pension fund. That is where they are. I'm deliberately giving you this light because I need you to realize that with all the stringent labor laws that we have lived with, and some of us proudly associate it and say that, oh look, India is a country where labor is protected. With this, I mean, if 4 by 5 of our workers are out of the law, then what kind of law is that? And why are they out of that law? Because of the law. You know, the problem part is that it is because of the law. अगर आप law इतना stringent बनाएंगे, तो जो आपके producers हैं वो क्या करेंगे? वो unorganized employment ज़्यादा करेंगे, informal employment ज़्यादा करेंगे, because they don't want to come under the law. Understand it? I mean, there is no single example, mind you that, of any country which could develop itself properly and uplift its people without having laws which are liberal in nature. You know, the laws have to be liberal in nature to allow your people to grow. Otherwise, corruption takes major root in such countries. Whether we look back at Soviet Union and see how it disintegrated, or we look at East Germany, which had to finally merge with West Germany, you know, and it was not a merger, it was a takeover. The flag of West Germany remained, the coin of the currency of West Germany remained, and even the chancellor of West Germany was the chancellor of combined Germany. तो उसको merger थोड़ी बोलते हैं, वो तो takeover होता है कि जब तुम आगे मिल जाओ, तुम्हारी हालत भीख मांगने वाली है, मेरे पास पैसे हैं, तुम आ जाओ, सब कुछ मेरा, but तुम्हें हम accommodate कर लेंगे. So that is how it happened among the Germanys. What I'm only trying to tell you is, some people give example of Cuba, but what is the level of human rights that you see in Cuba along with their GDP level? I mean, I give you great education and I give you great health care and take away your freedom. So that is something we need to understand. आप हमेशा सोच के देखिए, अथॉरिटेरियन regimes जो अपने आप को सोशलिस्ट बोलते हैं, वो इसीलिए सॉफ्ट पावर क्रिएट नहीं कर पाते हैं. How many would like to migrate to China? Supposedly सुपर पावर बन रहे हैं ना वो, और कोई बोले चलो चाइना माइग्रेट कर जाते हैं, वहां बड़ा प्रोस्पेरिटी है. But still the line to migrate to US is very large in whichever country you go to. So understand that. जो भी लोग शरणार्थी होते हैं, आप सोच के देखिएगा ये बात, क्योंकि चाइना कभी कभी अपने प्रोपोगेंडा मैकेनिज्म जैसे CGTN है उनका, उससे ये सब लेक्चर दुनिया को देता है. बट कोई भी रेफ्यूजी चाइना क्यों नहीं जाते? रेफ्यूजीज इंडिया आ जाते हैं, रेफ्यूजीज यूरोप चले जाते हैं, रेफ्यूजीज USA चले जाते हैं. चाइना कोई रेफ्यूजी जाता ही नहीं. बर्मा के साथ चाइना भी तो जा सकते हैं, म्यांमार आई मीन. तो म्यांमार से चाइना जाते ही नहीं रेफ्यूजी. म्यांमार से इंडिया आने को तैयार हैं, म्यांमार से बांग्लादेश जाने को तैयार हैं, बट म्यांमार के चाइना के साथ भी तो बॉर्डर है, जाते ही नहीं. और जाएंगे तो वो आने देंगे नहीं. The point is that, so you know, when you are not democratic, it's very easy then to lecture the democratic countries. There was an old Cold War joke that existed where there is a Soviet Union person and there is an American, and both of them are standing in front of the White House, and the American told the Soviet that you know, we have complete freedom in our country, and so he said, even we have complete freedom. So he said, no, I have so much freedom that I can stand in front of White House and say that Reagan is a bum. And the Soviets said, so I also have that freedom. I can stand in front of White House and say Reagan is a bum. You know? So this is what we need to understand, that stringent rules are not good rules. Rules which can be implemented are good rules. आप कागज पे एक धांसू कानून बना दीजिए जो कोई पालन नहीं कर रहा. जैसे बॉयज हॉस्टल के अंदर जो बनाया जाता है कानून कर्फ्यू रूल का, इतने बजे रात के बाद तुम नहीं लौट सकते. और कभी कभी हम लोग हंसते थे कि ये रूल है ही क्यों, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोग तो उतने बजे रात के बाद निकलते थे. तो ये अजीब सा रूल था कि आप, और वार्डन को भी पता है कि ये रूल फॉलो नहीं हो रहा, अथॉरिटीज को पता है ये रूल फॉलो नहीं हो रहा, लेकिन एक रूल बना के रखा है दैट आफ्टर नाइट दिस मच अमाउंट यू कांट गो आउट. दिस इज नॉट वैलिड. बहुत जगह है, मेरे सन अभी यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ रहे हैं, उनके यूनिवर्सिटी में यही रूल है दैट पेरेंट्स से परमिशन लीजिए, वो मैसेज करेंगे और वो ऑनलाइन आएगा, तब आप उनको ग्रांट कीजिए एक्सेस, तो उनको परमिशन मिलेगा, वो बाहर जा सकते हैं. पहला सेमेस्टर तो मैंने किसी तरह काटा ऐसे. दूसरे सेमेस्टर में मैंने उनको एक सिम खरीद के दे दिया. मैंने कहा ये है परमिशन देने वाला सिम और ये है लेने वाला सिम, अपने पास रखो, खुद को परमिशन दो, जहां जाना है जाओ, कॉलेज में चले गए हो, मेरे पीछे विक्रम बेताल बन के मत घूमो. But that is the bottom line, no? That you need to make sure that you give your people freedom to operate. तो कोई बड़े हो गए, जब मैं अपने बेटे को ये कह रहा था, वो 18 साल के हैं, 19 साल के हैं, 18 साल की उम्र में वो प्रधानमंत्री चुन सकते हैं, और मैं मानूं कि उनको अकल नहीं है कि वो कहाँ जाएंगे, नहीं जाएंगे, और नहीं है तब तो लानत है उन पर और मुझ पर. बहुत सिंपल सी बात है. देन इट्स आई शुड बी अशेम्ड कि मैं 18 साल तक उनको ये अकल नहीं दे पाया कि तुम्हें जाना कहाँ है, तो अब क्या ही दे दूंगा. सो दिस इज द पॉइंट टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट गवर्नेंस बाय रिजिडिटी only incentivizes your own people to lie to you. मैं जानबूझ के आपको हमेशा पेरेंट चाइल्ड एग्जाम्पल देता हूं, बिकॉज पेरेंट चाइल्ड रिलेशन इज वेरी मच लाइक अ गवर्नमेंट सिटीजन रिलेशन. सो द गवर्नमेंट हैज टू गिव फ्रीडम टू इट्स सिटीजन. आप सारा फ्रीडम देंगे तब तो सिटीजन्स जो है वो थोड़ा रिलक्टेंट रहेंगे. अब देखिएगा, आपके घर में कोई पेरेंट हो सकते हैं जो आपसे बहुत फ्रेंडली हैं, तो भी आप सारी बात बताने में उनको डर रहे हैं कि इनको लगता है नहीं कुछ बात ना हो जाए, ये कुछ कहना दे. तो जब ये हालत है, तब अगर वो स्ट्रिंजेंट हो जाएंगे तब तो रही सही कसर भी पूरी हो गई ना. That is the point I'm telling you. It happened with me also. My son, after his 12th standard, God knows why, was walking with his girlfriend just behind my house's lane. And I knew that he has a girlfriend. He had told me himself. तो वो दिक्कत नहीं थी कि मुझे पता नहीं था. अब उनको ये लेकिन पता होना चाहिए था कि मैं जॉगिंग करने उधर ही जाता हूँ. So, I am jogging around, and this fellow is coming from the other side with the girl. Maybe the girl didn't recognize me. एंड मुझे बड़ा ऑकवर्ड लगा कि अब मैं सडनली इनको देख के यू टर्न मार लूं और उल्टा दौड़ने लग जाऊं. सो आई केप्ट जॉगिंग एंड आई सी दिस फेलो इज नॉट लुकिंग एट मी. ये मुझे देख ही नहीं रहा, ये नीचे देख रहा है, इधर देख रहा है. तो मुझे बड़ा अजीब लगा कि भाई फादर और सन गुजर जाएंगे एक साथ और हेलो भी नहीं बोले एक दूसरे को. सो व्हेन वी वर 10-20 मीटर्स अवे फ्रॉम ईच अदर, आई लुक्ड एट हिम, आई सेड बेटा पापा कैसे हैं. और ये भी मुझे कह रहे हैं ठीक है अंकल. बेटा घर आ बताता हूं तुझे अंकल. बट इमेजिन द फेलो इज ऑल फ्री, ही नोज दैट आई नो, बट फॉर सम गॉड फॉरसेकन रीजन ही हैज टू एक्ट एज इफ वी डोंट नो. So this happens when you are liberal, that people who are dependent on you will still feel reluctant in reporting and talking everything to you. If you are stringent, then maybe you are in a life's nice paradise कि अच्छा कुछ हो नहीं रहा, but कुछ हो नहीं रहा और मेरे सामने कुछ हो नहीं रहा में बहुत का फर्क होता है. So then I am a fool to think nothing is happening just because it is not happening in front of me. And when I will teach you India before 91, I'll give you several such examples. One example I can give you just now. We had stringent rules about banning imports in India, and we had a rampant smuggling industry. That people would smuggle the goods into India and then sell it in India. So when you make all those stringent rules, you may think it's not happening, and you may think I will be able to control it, but that is not going to happen. You won't be able to control. You can't micromanage people. People will have their own methods. So that is the policy rule I was trying to teach you right now, that don't try micromanaging them by making stringent rules, but incentivize people to follow the rules by making rules liberal in nature. तो अगर आपके रूल्स लिबरल हैं, लोग खुद ही फॉलो करेंगे. 90% among us are normally rule abiding people. 10% can be habitual offenders, and then they are easy to catch because they are habitual offenders, but only 10% or maybe 5%. But 90-95% are following it. You don't have to bother, and they don't have to bother. So that is the basic idea to keep in mind, rather than when we follow. In India, we have had a culture where we have made rules which are very stringent. और ये हर जगह है, स्कूल में, कॉलेज में, गवर्नमेंट में, रूल्स बनाते वक्त ऐसा बनाया जाता है जैसे बिल्कुल तगड़ा सॉलिड सा है, बट वो पालन नहीं हो पाता बिल्कुल. इट्स नॉट इम्प्लीमेंटेड, एंड देन यू डिसरिस्पेक्ट द रूल, क्योंकि उसके बाद सबको लगता है अच्छा ये रूल है, मानना की जरूरत नहीं है. That's not a good signal कि मानने की जरूरत नहीं है. Then your people become indisciplined. Then the economy becomes chaotic because everybody believes I can break the rule and get away with it. So who are the sufferers in that? Those who follow the rules. Understand that. That in economics is called adverse selection. that then you are incentivizing those who break the rules, and they come out as the brave new world people, and those who follow the rules start feeling like a fool. कि मैं कानून मानता हूं तो देखो, आप देखेंगे कभी कभी, आशा करता हूं आपने नहीं सुना होगा, बट कभी कभी आप सुनेंगे ईमानदार पेरेंट्स कभी कभी गुस्से में बोल जाते हैं कि मुझे मेरे ऑनेस्टी की सजा मिल जाती है. That's not a good thing to hear in any economy. That if an honest person feels victimized, that oh, look, I'm honest and hence I'm being victimized. That is something we need to change to improve the structure of inclusion. Okay? Sure. So pay the severance fee, but remove it. In India, we don't even have that. You just can't remove. And the employee can always contend that in the picture. Do not compare France with India. That is a challenge, because Indian workers are not as educated as the French. And the second challenge is that you are picking one point, that part is stringent. And how about that part where if an employee doesn't report to work for 7 days, I'm telling you the French labor law, without informing the employer, the fellow can be fired with no remuneration given. Can you do that in India? I mean, we can't pick and choose, no, that this rule is my rule and therefore I'll pick it. Similarly, in France, they have a rule that if the company is in a recession, then the company can remove its employee, quoting recession. When I'm in a recession, I can't keep you. And the government won't do anything because it is a recession. And the company can fire its employee. So the Europeans have a balanced rule. It protects the workers, it protects the employer, and nobody is entitled out there. And that's what I'm asking for India, that let's have a balanced rule. Protect your worker, protect your employer, and nobody should feel entitled. Our workers, believe me, in government, feel entitled. I have given you the example of college clerks once. Go to any government office and see how they work at times. That's entitlement. You know, I will sign not more than 5 files in a day. Why not? If you are capable of doing more, go for it. And you know what is the problem there? The upper end of the government is heavily burdened. And the lower end is taking that entitlement because the upper end is trained. Upper end is trained to perform. So if you guys are a hard-working student, tomorrow even if you become a DM or some officer in any government office, you will be used to working hard. So most of the times you are working hard. But people below you are resisting it, and some around you are working less, and they are still getting the same promotion and same salary as you. I mean, that's pretty well unjustified. Why should that happen? If there are a set of government employees I have seen, and some of them you must have seen, who are working on Saturdays, who are working after 6 in the evening, their families also blame them, telling them, तुम्हारे अलावा कोई है नहीं क्या ऑफिस में? सच में नहीं है, वो लोग सेल्फ मोटिवेटेड लोग हैं. पर आप सोचिए, इनकी सैलरी वही है जो उनकी है, जो 5 साढ़े 5 बजने से पहले ही निकल लेते हैं. वो अपना बस्ता पैक करते हैं 4:30 से 5:30. उनकी सैलरी वही है जो ऑफिस में रिपोर्ट नहीं करते टाइम पर, जो ब्राइब ले रहे हैं, और उनके प्रमोशन एवेन्यू भी वही है. That's not a justified system then. You need to incentivize the hard workers and disincentivize your not so hard workers. Carrot and stick, but the stick is badly missing in Indian system. For the organized formal sector employees, not for the informal ones, not for the unorganized ones. I can remove the person who drives my car with the drop of my hat. And there is nothing protecting him. And he is poorer than me, no? So imagine I am protected and he is not. What kind of law have we made? So we need to do a deep thinking out there, that whom are we protecting? And why? Imagine, आप कहेंगे अच्छा सर चलिए, कम से कम organized sector के employees तो protected हैं. What about the Kingfisher employees? Poor guys, they don't even know whether they are working or not. They have not received even their own provident fund contribution. कम से कम उनका PF contribution तो लौटा दीजिए उनको. Jet Airways employees. So even the organized sector employees are not getting protected in the kind of labor law we have created. So you can't create an entitled group of public sector employees who are protected by all means, no? That is why the huge crowd to be a government worker. उसके बाद संजीव सान्याल कितना भी बोल लें कि आप क्रिकेटर बनने की कोशिश कीजिए, आप एंटरप्रेन्योर बनने की कोशिश कीजिए, कोई क्यों बनेंगे आप? मुझे सरकार में एक तरफ हाई सैलरी दे रहे हैं, प्रोटेक्शन, हाई सैलरी इसलिए कह रहा हूं क्योंकि लोअर एंड पे हायर सैलरीज है. Government pays its PN 27,000 rupees per month. PNs don't get paid more than 10,000 in a private sector. Government pays its clerks 55 to 60,000 rupees per month. Clerks never get paid more than 28-30,000 rupees per month. More than that. तो आप अपने लोअर एंड को हाई पे कर रहे हैं, अपर एंड को लो पे कर रहे हैं. SBI chairman is paid 3 lakh rupees per month. HDFC chairman who does similar work as SBI chairman, because both the banks are almost similar level, the HDFC chairman gets paid 52 lakh rupees per month. So you're paying your upper end employees very low. आप सोचिए, ईश्वर करें आप IAS बन जाएं, आपकी ट्रेनिंग के बाद जो पहली पोस्टिंग होगी, आप कहीं पे SDM होंगे और 6 महीने के बाद आपको DM बनाएंगे, और तब आपकी सैलरी कुछ 1 लाख रुपए के आसपास होगी. अगर आपको फ्री का घर भी दे दिया, कुछ गाड़ी भी दे दी, तो चलिए 1.5 लाख रुपए हो गई एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट के CEO को. हम क्यों ऐसी सैलरी दे रहे हैं? They need to be paid more. You're taking the cream of this society. You should pay them more to retain them. You know, that is the point I always keep making. But you can pay them more to retain them if you stop the langar you are doing on the lower end. कि 30,000 रुपए पियोन को दे दो भाई, कोई बात नहीं है. तो जो पियोन है वो ना काम करता है, वो परमानेंट हो गया, और आपके PhD पियोन की नौकरी के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि उनको पता है मैं पीएन बनने के बाद जाऊंगा थोड़ी काम करने, सैलरी लूंगा सिर्फ, काम तो साथ में कुछ और भी करूंगा. बहुत सारे, नाम तो नहीं बोल सकता, लेकिन कॉलेज प्रोफेसर्स को मैं जानता हूं जिनके अपने साइड बिजनेसेस हैं. ये कैसे कर सकते हैं आप? आप तो प्रोफेसर हैं, आप तो, आपके लिए तो रूल बुक में है कि आप कुछ और नहीं कर सकते, पर वो कुछ और भी कर रहे हैं, पैसे भी कमा रहे हैं उस प्रोसेस में. तो जो चोरी कर पा रहे हैं वो तो निकल लिए आगे, और जो नहीं कर पा रहे हैं वो पीछे रह जाए. दैट इज एन एडवर्स सिलेक्शन सिस्टम. वी एक्चुअली नीड टू क्वेश्चन and change that. And again, please understand, I never imply that we should have a system which doesn't protect the workers. But if you overprotect any side, you end up underprotecting everyone. Always keep it in mind. We have made our rules under God knows what circumstance, but today's India is a very different India. So create a better opportunity, create a better system, and that gives you a much better, performance-oriented society rather than entitlement. That is the limited point I keep saying. सरकारी नौकरी हमारे यहाँ बहुत लोगों को मैं सुनता हूँ बोलते हैं मैं इसलिए करना चाहता हूँ क्योंकि वहाँ काम कम है. एक 25 साल का आदमी अगर ये बोले कि मैं कम काम करना चाहता हूँ, यही हमारा फेलियर है कि हमने 25 साल के आदमी को निकम्मा बना दिया जो कम काम ढूंढ रहा है और फिर भी चाहता है पैसे जेब में आ जाए. तब तो एक ही तरीका है, डकैती डालो. और वही डकैती पड़ रही है. सरकार के रिसोर्सेज बेच दो इधर उधर, किसी से घूस खा लो यहाँ से वहां से. That's not something which will help us. We need to structurally change ourselves. Believe you me on that. I dig my head very deep in Indian economy. Then only I talk to you because I respect you guys also a lot. मैं जानता हूँ तुम पढ़े लिखे लोग हो इंडिया के, तो मैं बहुत डीप डिग करके ही आपसे बात करता हूँ. तो ये चेंजेस लाना बहुत जरूरी है. ये टिकिंग टाइम बॉम्ब है इंडिया का, that we are sitting on. That people are used to becoming inefficient, and society and economy is accepting it. That remain inefficient, it's okay. तुम तो permanent worker हो. You know, that is not something we should accept. Permanent job is a bad idea. Secured job is a good idea. Give people job security, that your employer cannot throw you with the drop of the hat. And how do you create a secured job? Of course, create good laws for it. But along with that, give good training to your workers. So if your workers are well trained and skilled, they will be able to manage better productivity and more people will be willing to hire them. And third, make sure that there is enough competition in the market, larger number of production enterprises, so that if one enterprise removes me, there is somebody else willing to give me the job. So if you create competition and larger number of firms, trained workforce with good skill, and then good labor laws which protect the workers from summarily being removed, then you actually protect the worker rather than by creating very stringent rules to defy which the firms don't even hire them formally. And this is the number then that you look at. All right, just keep this in mind. When I'll teach you employment, I will bring this back again. Okay, so we write on Atal Pension Yojana a couple of lines. You write, Under this scheme, all workers who do not qualify for any pension scheme of the government or any other enterprise can participate in it full stop. The workers should be registered on e-Shram portal. The workers should be registered on e-Shram portal. Full stop. These workers should be between 18 years to 45 years. So again, the upper limit of participating in the scheme is 45 years. You cannot participate after reaching the age of 45 years. So 18 years to 45 years, and they have to contribute rupees 3,000 per annum for 20 years comma, which will entitle them to receive pension of rupees 3,000 per month after the age of 60 years. Rupees 3,000 per month after the age of 60 years. But mind you, those workers who have joined after 40 years of age will be allowed to get their money only after 20 years of contribution is completed. For example, if I join at the age of 42, then I will have to contribute till 62 and then I will get my money. I'm sure everybody is clear on that? Okay. Now these are schemes for financial inclusion that you can keep in mind. I now take you to some more schemes of the government. These are from the past, which have been introduced for protection of the vulnerable. So now you give a heading, you write, this is the next point now. So we talked about Janman Yojana, Vishwakarma Yojana, financial inclusion. Now the fourth point I am talking. So you can take it as fourth, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. We will keep calling it MNREGA, Manrega. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. So it depends on what is being articulated there. All right. So if you are looking at, sometimes it is the socio-economic caste census, sometimes it is the below poverty line people, sometimes it is workers on the e-Shram portal, sometimes it is small scale industries on the Udyam portal. So there are various ways of identification, and it's mentioned in the scheme that this is the way we will identify you. All right. Now see, the scheme was introduced as a pilot project. Pilot project is an initial project on a lower scale. So introduced as a pilot project in 2006 in 50 districts of India. I'm sure you understand that when I say 2006, I mean 2005-6. All right, when we say 2006, we imply 2005-6. So introduced as a pilot project in 50 districts of India initially. By 2007, it was extended all over India. By 2007, the scheme was extended all over India. All right, it was given all over India to everyone by 2007. What is the scheme now? So the scheme goes like this. The scheme entitles every worker in the rural area to receive a minimum of 100 days of employment at a minimum wage or at a wage fixed by the state government. अब समझिएगा एक बात. The financing is done by the central government. All right. The central government will send the money to the state government. The state government will choose the wage rate which will be paid in their state, considering the inflation levels, etc., cost of living in their state. And then the panchayat is responsible for identifying the workers, listing their name, making the job card, and panchayat won't receive the money. The money will be sent directly by the state government into the account of the workers. That kind of structuring has been done for it. That पैसा central government देंगे, लेकिन पैसा का distribution state government करेंगे. State government ही fix करेंगे कि minimum wage क्या fix किया जाए जो लोगों को दिया जाएगा. पंचायत के हाथ में है ये decide करना कि beneficiaries कौन है, साथ में किन किन जगहों पे काम होगा. Which work will you include in Manrega and who are the beneficiaries? Again, central government decides what kind of work is permitted to be included as a part of Manrega. So it's central government giving the money and choosing the type of work which can be included in Manrega, state government managing the money, keeping it and distributing it directly to the workers, and panchayats collecting all the information, deciding what work has to be done, giving the proof of the work to the state government, giving the job cards and providing the proof of that job card to the state government, and then the state government will transfer money to the worker. That is the way Manrega has been designed. All right. So initially it was taken because it was said there is rural distress. And to overcome the rural distress, we need to give people a job guarantee. But I was saying this to you yesterday, I think, or maybe in the class before that, that job guarantees should be SOS. You know, job guarantee scheme should not be normal. You understand that? SOS का मतलब क्या हुआ? अगर इकोनॉमी में कोई दिक्कत आ गई, कोई बहुत खतरनाक हालत हो गई, कोविड पैंडेमिक आ गया या फिर वॉर हो गया, तो चलिए लोगों की नौकरी जा रही है, लोग खतरे में, आप उनको नौकरी दे दीजिए कि आप ये काम करिए, आपको पैसे मिलेंगे, आप सिक्योर्ड हैं. I understand that. But if we say Manrega, fixing a given wage, is the security forever, then we are keeping people trapped in the low-level equilibrium. And we are not training them, we are not upgrading them, and somewhere there is a complacency, acha naukri to mil hi rahi hai. So this is something which we need to again tackle. That, and हम उसको एक step ऊपर ले जा रहे हैं. Let's have an Urban Employment Guarantee Act. But end of the day, whether it's a Rural Employment Guarantee Act or an Urban Employment Guarantee Act, it is a tacit acceptance that we can't give jobs to our people. तो तुम्हें नौकरी दे नहीं सकते, तो तुम मेरा सिर मत खाओ, तुम ये थोड़ा बहुत पैसा पकड़ के रुको भाई. But then you can't keep generations into it, no? Manrega was initiated 2007, as I just told you. This is 2024, and we don't see any sunset for Manrega right now. Rather, there are so many people who praise it a lot. It's such a wonderful scheme and we should have it. Well, our focus should be more on training our people, creating employment for them, upgrading their skills, rather than keeping them with मनरेगा. क्यों मैं बार बार ये बोलता हूँ, ये ह्यूमन सिस्टम होता है. आप ऐसे ही मजाक कर रहा हूँ, थैंकफुली आप लोग मिल जाते हैं मुझे. आई वॉज इन अ वेरी रॉन्ग frame of mind when I was traveling, because I told you I lost somebody dear, but the classroom has had a very soothing effect. But मैं आपसे एक बात यहाँ बोलता हूँ, आप सोचिए आप शेड्यूल कब बनाते हैं? आप कभी सोच के देखिएगा, जब आप एक दो दिन पढ़े नहीं हैं, तब आपका शेड्यूल बनता है. और आप शेड्यूल बनाकर क्या करते हैं? फिर नहीं पढ़ते हैं. तो शेड्यूल क्या बना? मनरेगा. A place which gives you a cushion. काम मत करो, ये सारा कुछ करते रहो जिससे मन शांत रहे. क्योंकि काम 2 दिन नहीं किए, अब तुम रिस्पॉन्सिबल स्टूडेंट हो, तो 2 दिन काम नहीं करके तो मन अशांत होगा ही, ये नॉर्मल सी बात है. देन द माइंड इज डिस्टर्ब्ड. हाउ टू पैसिफाई द माइंड? द माइंड प्लेज ट्रिक्स विथ यू. इट सेज कम कम कम, लेट्स मेक अ शेड्यूल. And what is the insincerity of that schedule? It starts from tomorrow. Hardly a schedule starts from now. कि अच्छा ये शेड्यूल बनाकर अगले मिनट में मैं पढ़ने बैठ जाऊंगा. नहीं, जनरली शेड्यूल टुमारो, या फिर सुबह बन रहा है तो टुनाइट. वो कभी ये नहीं कहता कि शेड्यूल बना के अभी बैठ जाएंगे. अब आप सोचिए इसका नतीजा क्या हुआ. आप पहले से 48 आवर्स से नहीं पढ़े हुए थे, एक शेड्यूल ने आपको पैसिफाई किया, आप अगले 10 घंटे और नहीं पढ़ के खुश हैं. यही मनरेगा जैसी स्कीम करती हैं, पैसिफाई करती हैं. कुछ तो काम मिल रहा है, गरीबों की सिक्योरिटी बनी हुई है, सरकार को भी एक पैसिफिकेशन मिलता है, मैं कुछ तो कर रहा हूं गरीबों के लिए. 89,000 करोड़ बजट फॉर मनरेगा. बट जो एक्चुअल एक्टिविटीज रिक्वायर्ड हैं, विच विल अपलिफ्ट पुअर्स, आर देन इग्नोर्ड बिकॉज एवरीबडी इज इन अ पैसिफिस्ट मूड. सो अंडरस्टैंड दैट समटाइम्स यू गॉट टू कैच द बुल बाय द हॉर्न. जब ये बोलूं तो मुझे मत देखो. To make sure that you solve the challenge. So again I repeat, I am not against Manrega at all. I believe Manrega should be there. India needs it. I am only saying that Manrega cannot be my answer to rural distress, or any Urban Employment Guarantee Act cannot be an answer to urban distress. It cannot be an answer to that. It can be a stopgap arrangement. एक बैंडेड लगा दिया क्योंकि वहां पे आपका कट आ गया था, लेकिन फाइनली हील करने के लिए दवाई लेनी पड़ेगी. तो ये जब तक हम नहीं समझेंगे, ये स्कीम्स चलती रहेंगी. और कुछ लोग हैं मेरे दोस्त जो लेफ्ट साइड ऑफ द स्पेक्ट्रम पे हैं, वो तो बहुत खुश होते हैं ऐसी स्कीम देखकर कि तुम जीवन भर सरकार पे निर्भर रहो भाई, तब तो मेरे पार्टीज में आओगे. मुझे एक मेरे दोस्त ने बताया, वो लेफ्ट स्ट्रीम से ही हैं और मेरे बहुत अच्छे दोस्त हैं. उन्होंने बताया कि जो कम्युनिस्ट आइडियोलॉजी है, या जो हिटलर की फासिस्ट आइडियोलॉजी थी, ये लोग एजुकेशन पे बहुत ध्यान देंगे. क्यों? क्योंकि तभी तो आपका लिटरेचर बाकी पढ़ पाएंगे ना, तब तो आप ब्रेन वॉश करेंगे. अगर आपका लिटरेचर पढ़ ही नहीं पाए तो पढ़ाना बहुत जरूरी है, लेकिन वो पढ़ाइए जो आप पढ़ाना चाहते हैं. Understand that. That's the challenge you have. And again, nothing against communism. I have someone at home, so nothing against communism. But I'm only saying that any ideology will focus more on ideological achievement rather than practical solutions. आप हमेशा, और वो किसी भी आइडियोलॉजी पे ट्रू है, जो आइडियोलॉजिकली बेंट ऑफ माइंड में है, वो कहेंगे नहीं सॉल्यूशन मिले ना मिले, मेरी आइडियोलॉजी पे खतरा नहीं आना चाहिए. बातें वही होनी चाहिए जैसा मैंने सीख रखा है. So the flexibility goes away then. You have very rare people like Deng Xiaoping who was willing to be flexible and change. Deng had a very interesting answer. Deng was asked by a reporter from America. She was called Ezra Vogel. जब भी आपको मौका मिले आप डेंग की वो बायोग्राफी जरूर पढ़िएगा. वो 1000 पेज की किताब है, बहुत ही अच्छी किताब है. Ezra Vogel is the writer of that. So Ezra Vogel was interviewing Deng, and she asked Deng that, look, you say China is a communist country, but you have private property allowed, and you have private businesses allowed, and you have trade doing at such a great rate, and all this is happening. You are allowing foreign direct investment in your country. So are you communist or have you become capitalist? And Deng answered with a smile that why should we ask the name of a cat as long as she is catching the mice? So Deng was a pragmatist. He knew that he needs to change the economy to grow better, but he also knew that he cannot change the politics because then the Communist Party will lose its power. So he kept the politics as on communism, but he changed the economics to make it market oriented. I mean, Chinese have the largest number of billionaires in Asia today, and supposedly they are communist. I mean, communism says no private property. Understand that. So that is how countries do get flexible if they get a great leader. Deng was one, no doubt. So if you get a good leader who is willing to change things for the sake of it, तो ये जरूरी है समझना. डेंग इनफैक्ट इतने फोरसाइटेड थे, उनको पता था कि अगर एक सिंगल रूल करता है तो रिवोल्ट होंगे, लोग गुस्सा होंगे, एंटाई इनकम्बेंसी नहीं होगी. तो उन्होंने चाइना में एक रूल बनाया जिसको शी जिनपिंग ने अब खत्म कर दिया है, दैट रेंजिंग फ्रॉम द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ द कंट्री टू द ब्लॉक हेड ऑफ द कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी, एवरीबडी विल चेंज एवरी 10 years. 10 साल के रूल रहेगा, 10 साल में सब बदल दिए जाएंगे. There were two benefits of it. Corruption could be controlled because people knew that I will lose power one day and others will come in and they just might check. So it was not removed, but it could be controlled. And second, that people got a sense of anti-incumbency, that they said, okay, the older ones are now gone, some new ones have come up. So without changing into a democracy, he was giving his people a feel of democracy. That look, your leaders are changing, somebody else is coming up. So he had some very interesting take on what could be done, but because of Deng, Chinese could grow very fast. I'm sure Xi will destroy a lot of it in his power. He's exactly opposite to what Deng was. Deng was very low stated, less in public picture, more in planning, and so on. He would always be like that. Xi is all exactly opposite. और China को भुगतना भी पड़ रहा है उसके वजह से. All the trade war you see and the investment curtailment you see, all that we see around ourselves, Deng would play it very soft. In 2002, Jiang Zemin was the president of China. He was asked a question. China had become a $2 trillion economy, and they were the second largest economy in the world. So he was asked a question that, do you now believe it is going to be G2, America and China, and they will compete for global supremacy? And he said, no, we are a country which is relatively very poor. We are a $2 trillion economy with 1.2 billion people. So we are not competing with America at all. China believes in peaceful prosperity and success of the world. That was his statement. He said, we want the world to support us so that we can support it back. So that is how they would talk. It was not that they were not ambitious ever. They were ambitious, but they would never talk about it. They would never take any undue problems because they knew, let's grow very quick and let's grow good enough and then maybe we'll get back. So maybe they just speeded up a little early. They should have waited another 10, 20 years. They would have been the undisputed leader by then. Because Americans were very, very happy with them. They used to think, अच्छा ये तो हमारा दोस्त है और ये आगे चल के डेमोक्रेटिक हो जाएंगे. ऐसा कहा जाता है कि डेंग ने हेनरी किसिंगर को ये भी कहा था कि जैसे हम अमीर हो जाएंगे तब तो डेमोक्रेटिक होंगे, थोड़ा पैसा आएगा, देखेंगे लोग, पढ़े लिखेंगे, तब डेमोक्रेटिक हो सकते हैं, अभी कैसे हो सकते हैं. And Kissinger bought it. He thought he's speaking correct. But Deng was actually playing him. He knew that he wants Kissinger on his side so that Americans keep giving support. So look at China's prosperity. Who made China the powerhouse of the world? The Western powers, whether USA or Britain or Germany and all, or Japan, by placing all their factories in China in the greed of getting more profit. And today China is a power to contend with. Maybe Xi Jinping should have played along another 10 years. That is the only point I'm making. Another 10 years, Chinese would have done far better. But now they are on a different road. Anyways, you take this up then, you write, under Manrega, workers in rural areas are promised a guaranteed employment for at least 100 days in the year, at a wage fixed a wage fixed by the state government if job cannot be provided, in the same thing please write, if job cannot be provided, then the workers are entitled to receive payment for job from the government. पेमेंट फॉर जॉब फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट. अगर किसी कारण से आप काम नहीं दे पाए तो भी आपको काम की पेमेंट देनी पड़ेगी फिर. Alright, so it is workers have to be given job. That is the basic idea. You write below that benefits of Manrega. No, in all individual workers, and it says at least one worker in the family should be getting it. All right. No, every worker who comes will have to be given a job. Like you can't deny anyone. Like if people come and ask you that I want a job, you can't tell them no, we don't have job for you. If you say that, you will have to pay money to them. All right. So everyone is entitled. All the adults, of course, who are above 18 years of age, are entitled to take this job. All right. Then you write within that, and the benefits. First point. It acts as social security mechanism. Social security mechanism because it assures 100 days of paid employment. It assures 100 days of paid employment which helps in earning a minimum wage. Second point you write, I hope you understand this point, that it's social security in what sense? If I am unemployed, I am vulnerable. I will not get money. I can be hungry after that, and so on. So if you give me employment and give me at least 100 days, I have some money in my hand with which I can sustain myself. Second, and please think of it holistically. So this 100 days employment is in addition to the free food program. You understand that? So I have my food, and then you are promising me 100 days work. So that kind of security is what you are trying to give me. And again, I will repeat what I have kept saying, I know ad nauseum at times, that free food, 100 days of work, some amount of work, you are then perpetuating the economy in a low-level equilibrium. You know, because when people are less educated, when people are less trained, then their expectations from themselves is also low. So if you give them some kind of a small work and give them some free food, maybe the aspirations will never work that I should grow ahead and go do more. And if they never have that aspiration, then you will not be able to uplift them. You understand that? That extra work comes from having that aspiration. That will be a challenge then. Then you write next, second benefit, 56% of beneficiaries in Manrega, 56% of beneficiaries in Manrega are women. 56% of beneficiaries in Manrega are women, 19% are people from scheduled caste, 19% are people from scheduled caste, so 56% women, 19% scheduled caste, and 17%, 17% are people from scheduled tribe, people from scheduled tribe, which shows proportionately larger coverage of vulnerable sections, I can believe I'm making sense to you on that, that more than half are women and 19% from scheduled caste, 17% from scheduled tribe. So compared to the population of those people in the system, more coverage is given to the vulnerable group. Third, you write, no, this can be men or women. It's like a when. Women and women can be scheduled caste, and women can be scheduled tribe. So you can have women who are scheduled caste, women who are scheduled tribe, and you have men who are scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. It can be like that. Okay, you take this up, you write, and these two whens are not joining each other because scheduled caste can't be scheduled tribe. All right. Then you write within that, next point, it has helped in increasing minimum wage in rural area due to guaranteed wage of Manrega. I hope you get the point, that Manrega says we'll give you 200 rupees per day. Then automatically if somebody else has to employ me, they will have to give me at least 200 rupees per day. You understand that? So that is what the scheme does. I'll quickly answer. Two of your friends have asked me a question here. One is, which people come under eShram? All unorganized sector workers are required to register themselves on the portal of eShram. Aman, I hope you got the answer. And another question I see is, what is pilot project? I told you, Karishma, pilot projects are initial projects put in the limited area and then gradually tested, and once the test is complete, you implement it all over. तो जब भी आप कोई नया प्रोजेक्ट शुरू करते हैं, छोटे एरिया में इंप्लीमेंट करते हैं टेस्ट करने के लिए, उसे पायलट प्रोजेक्ट कहते हैं. All right. Then you write the fourth point in this. It has acted as source of support. It has acted as source of support during conditions of distress like the COVID pandemic. In fact, in 2019-20, the total Manrega payment that we had done was 72,000 crore. But during COVID pandemic, people lost their jobs in urban area. They went to the rural area, the migrant worker crisis and all that we had seen. And then they started demanding jobs in the rural area. And because of Manrega, that help could be reached. The budget on Manrega increased from 72,000 crore to 1,06,000 crore within 1 year. But then that was an indirect but an effective way of reaching help to the people. And then you write fifth, the transfers under Manrega are done through direct benefit transfer DBT as we call it. And what is DBT? You put the money directly into the account of the person. It doesn't go via some intermediary. All right, so through direct benefit transfer, which helps in reducing corruption. Which helps in reducing corruption. But that's a challenge we are still facing big time because people are gaming the system as we call it. So what people are doing is they are getting into traction with the beneficiaries, and it's like this. Suppose you are a migrant worker and I am your sarpanch. I will talk to you. I'll tell you, you keep doing your migrant worker job. I am enrolling you in the Manrega list. Money will come into your account because I will send the proof that you worked. So money will come into your account. And once the money has come, then 50% money you will have to give to me. Now you think that, okay, I'm getting 2,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees in my account monthly, 1,500 this fellow will take, 1,500 I will get, and I don't have to do anything for that. And they say, okay, let's do this. You understand that? So that becomes a challenging aspect to a great extent. तो इसके वजह से अभी भी मनरेगा में बहुत गड़बड़ी चल रही है, but government had appointed a committee, Meher Shah committee, in 2015 to suggest a Manrega 2.0. So the committee suggested several things. It said quality of assets should be improved. So government after that included programs like Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana under Manrega kind of a scheme. It also said that geotagging of projects should happen. So geotagging means you will have to put the topographical value of where did you do the project. For example, मैंने एक pond dig किया, तो आपको geo tag करना पड़ेगा कि इस जगह पे pond dig हुआ है, जो verifiable हो satellite pictures से. नहीं तो पहले लोग क्या करते थे 2016 के पहले, that they will dig up a pond, take the picture from 4-5 angles and show the same picture for 4-5 years and keep getting money for Manrega. You know? So all those things used to be done. दूसरा ये डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर लाए मेहर शाह कमेटी के बाद, नहीं तो पहले पैसे हाथ में दिए जाते थे लोगों के, उसमें बहुत चोरी होती थी. So there have been improvements in Manrega, but still the challenges do continue. So we'll quickly finish that up. So you write challenges of Manrega. Challenges of Manrega. And you write first, the problem of fake job cards. The problem of fake job cards is still resulting in leakages on account of ghost beneficiaries. On account of ghost beneficiaries. Ghost beneficiaries are beneficiaries who don't exist. All right, that is why ghost beneficiaries. कहने के लिए नाम रखा हुआ है, exist ही नहीं करते. Second, then you write 2. Payment has been delayed. Payment has been delayed in several cases. Payment has been delayed in several cases, which discourages workers. Which discourages workers. In fact, Manrega has a rule that payment should be made within 15 days of completion of work, but we still see payments being delayed. Third, you write, quality of assets is still compromised. Quality of assets is still compromised in several places. Still compromised in several places. That's again something pretty important, that if quality of assets, I'll tell you what I mean. People digging up the pit and people filling the pit. You know, now there is no asset then. Asset quality, Meher Shah committee ने बोला था that use people to create check dams, rainwater harvesting methods, village, school buildings or panchayat buildings. So you will have permanent assets created and you will get workers from Manrega. In some places this has started, some people are doing it, but still many places the old method continues. And then you write one more. Amount of budget for Manrega, amount of budget for Manrega is not sufficient, to make a significant impact, There was a World Bank report in 2017 which said that if we want Manrega to be a game changer, a big impact creation, then it should have at least 1.5% of GDP included. But in India, none of the years have we crossed even 0.5% of GDP. So that means that the amount we are giving still remains not so sufficient. And then one more you write. No, this was World Bank report. Oh, committee, Mihir Shah committee. Mihir Shah, MIHIRSHAH, Mihir Shah committee. And then one more you write. There is no scope of skill development. There is no scope of skill development or training under the scheme. So, upgradation suffers. That skill development, training, that suffers. So, upgradation suffers. And then you write below that, we are concluding on this. Actually, I'm making you write these because UPSC has asked Manrega twice in the past. The analysis on Manrega. So, we should have some basic analysis on it. You write below that, Manrega has been an effective scheme. Manrega has been an effective scheme to reduce social distress, but it requires and you take it as ABC, you write A, technological support and social auditing. Technological support means regular Aadhaar verification. All right, that workers' fingerprints should be taken to verify these are genuine workers working on the field. And it can be done by a simple app creation. You don't need a lot of it, just a normal app. That app can take the fingerprint or the iris scan, and that can be verified that this worker was present on that day. The real-time data will be available. So that is something we need to do to remove ghost beneficiaries. All right, so use technology. And social auditing. Social auditing is, what is that? You send group of people as third-party auditors. They go to the rural area. They will ask everyone over there that did they get the benefit? What benefit did they get? What was the money given? When was it transferred? So all details collected by collecting all people at one place, and this will be done by a third party. Social auditing has helped in catching a lot of corruption in India at times. In Manrega itself, in Madhya Pradesh, around 4 lakh ghost beneficiaries were discovered from just around 100 odd villages because of social auditing. So this is something that we can develop. Now, when I say 4 lakh beneficiaries from 100 villages, what it also means is there can be multiple benefits taken in the same name. Like one beneficiary might have taken benefits for 5 years, so then it gets kind of counted as 5 beneficiaries. All right. Okay. You write in that B part, it should be connected to other government initiatives, Other government initiatives like a PM Awas Yojana, like a Green India Mission, all right, connect them to that. And third, decentralization of governance. Decentralization means put more power to the third tier. Decentralization of governance will help in better planning and execution of projects. Better planning and execution of projects. Okay, so we wrote about what is Manrega, benefits, challenges, and the way forward. All right. आप आज के लिए बस एक heading दे दो. We'll stop on that. You write. This will be your next point, the fifth one. You write, Public Distribution System and National Food Security Act. Public Distribution System. Public Distribution System and National Food Security Act. Public Distribution System and National Food Security Act. As I see you tomorrow, I'll begin from here. Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for waiting for me. Thank you. Thank you everybody online. I see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock then.